No law is being broken. They don't own the building. You can't trespass in a public place. The owner of the building hasn't requested my removal. They can't determine for me whether or not my business there is done or whatever. And they're saying, you don't have to consent. We can do what we want. We're placing you under arrest. And they, did their best to rough me up or try to get some sort of physical response out of me, which I didn't get. I said, I'm definitely not resisting. I don't consent to this. They motioned me into the elevator, held me up against facing the wall like I was some violent criminal, and they started asking me all kinds of personal information about what kind of car I drive, what my social security number is, where I work, how much money I made, and I told them I'm not telling them anything. Well, they put me in the back of the car. They're examining the contents of what they took out of my pockets on the trunk. And after a couple minutes, the one police officer that I was mainly speaking to came around to the window. And she said, okay, look, I can just give you this citation for trespassing instead of going down to jail, but you have to sign it. And I said, well, what happens if I don't sign it? And she said, I'm going to take you to jail. And I said, I thought that I couldn't be compelled to sign any documentation with the threat of something bad happening as a result of that. She said, look, I'm just going to take you to jail if you don't sign it. I said, okay, I'll sign it. And she went back to the trunk, and my idea was, okay, I'll sign the citation, but prior to signing my name, I will write under protest and duress. So it actually has a record on that citation, on that ticket, that I'm signing it under protest and duress. But then she comes back around another time and she asked me for more personal information, such as, is this your current address on your driver's license? And at that point I had it. I said, I don't want to talk anymore. I don't want to give you any more information. And she said, we're going to jail. And I said, then let's go to jail. And we went to jail. And I sat in jail for 6 hours. The corrections officers that I spoke to about why I was there, the people that I was in jail with, in the holding cell for that many hours, found out why I was there. Everybody had a real laugh about the fact that I was sitting in jail for 6 hours because I got arrested for trespassing by going to a doctor's office as a new patient and not consenting to the HIPAA privacy agreement, which again states, if you consent and agree to it, that doctor's office or any doctor's office that you signed an agreement to can release any of your personal and medical information to whoever they deem necessary. They can sell it to people, they can provide it to the Homeland Security, they can provide it to your neighbor's uncle. Whatever they want, they can do it as long as you consent to it. And if you don't, apparently they can just refuse service, but I don't know how that's breaking any laws. So I sat there for 6 hours, and I was more than willing to, and here's why. Because I was not willing to give up my rights and to stand up for myself for 1 second under the threat of losing my freedom for a couple hours. I know this is a bogus charge of criminal trespass. I know it won't stand up in court. It'll probably be dropped. I know that I sat there in that jail cell for 6 hours and it stunk, and the people that were in there deserved to be in there because they had committed some legitimate crimes against other people. But I tell you what, the whole time I was in there and every minute that has passed since I got back out, I've had a smile on my face. Because I know I did right by me. I know I didn't do anything wrong. I know that I asked the right questions and stood up for myself. And I know that I did not submit to the apparent authority of a police officer just because they think that they preside over me and we the people because they've been told that by their commanding officers or whatever. Somehow, in recent times, the police have perverted their role in society to put themselves in the authority position where we, the public, are the servant and we serve the authority figures, the police. Whereas it's supposed to be the complete opposite. They're servants of the people. And these police certainly didn't serve me today. For whatever reason, they were willing to serve the doctor in the doctor's office, but I'm not sure why. I'm not completely sure on what was told, but I can tell you that despite losing my freedom for 6 hours, quote unquote, that I feel like I've taken 2 or 3 steps ahead of the game. I'm not sure what I'm going to do from this point on. I'm not sure what I should do from this point on. Not even really sure what I could do from this point on. But I tell you, I feel good about the whole thing because I did not, to be a little dramatic about it, I did not kiss anybody's boots. I did not submit to any apparent authority. I stood my ground. I stood up for myself. I stood up for my rights. And I did not submit to the fear of going to jail for the sake of giving up those rights and not standing my ground. And I tell you what, that feels really good. So hopefully you understand why I made this video. Hopefully you get a little bit of information out of it. And I know that many other people go through many, many worse trials than what I just described. But as I said at the beginning, it's out of a concern that this type of thing is growing more and more and more. Because remember, I went to a doctor's office today to sign up as a new patient, and because I did not opt into this HIPAA privacy disclosure, it ended up in me getting, even though I called the police, it ended up in me getting arrested for a criminal trespass. That's weird, man. I'll tell you another thing that's weird. While in the jail cell, the thought about scratching into the wall, Brooks was here, did admittedly cross my mind. And I will also admit that a conversation about Dog the Bounty Hunter did, in fact, take place while I was incarcerated temporarily today. Anyhow, leave your comments, leave a rating. If you are a lawyer and you have some good legal advice for me, why not leave that too? And that can be privately, or that can be here in the public comment section. But again, thanks for watching. And don't be afraid to stand up for your rights, ever. Don't be afraid of sitting in a jail cell for a couple of hours to stand up for yourself and your rights. I think that it's becoming so important, man. You can, if more and more people did this type of thing, I feel, then we'd really have a handle on where we are right now. And obviously, we don't. If something like this can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. So, whatever. Appreciate it. Talk to you again, maybe. Hopefully with good news. Bye.